Hello, everyone. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. Today on our show, we are going to have Marlo. Marlo is from Charlotte in North Carolina in the USA. So let's see what Marlo has to say. Enjoy the interview. So, hello, Marlo. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
So
I
tell
am
me,
doing quite okay. Yeah.
how's your day going so far?
Um, let's see. How is it going so far? I've done a lot of driving today. Um, Driving people back to and from work. Other than that, been fiddling with my computer and enjoying the spring outside.
Amazing. And what do you do for work?
I kind of don't. Currently I'm unemployed, but I am part of this like artist organization.
Okay.
That's called Basic Studios. And soon I'm going to essentially be a paid writer to write blogs and articles and whatnot. So,
That's amazing. And where are you
yeah.
from, Marlo?
Originally, I was born in Ukraine, actually. I was born in a port town called Sevastopol on the Crimean Peninsula. But I was raised in South Carolina in a city called Charleston.
Amazing. And why the change from Ukraine to South Carolina, North Carolina?
Well, okay. So I was adopted from Ukraine as a baby, right?
I see.
Didn't really have a choice there, but I'm glad I'm here. Um, then I was raised in South Carolina, but now I live in North Carolina because I went to university, went to college here. So
I see. I see. And do you have any connection in Ukraine or not? All your family and all your relatives, they're all based in the US.
I wish I had a connection to Ukraine. I wish I had a connection to my biological mother, but not really. I want to go back and like try and find her if I can someday. But yeah, my family is here.
Amazing. Okay. Let's start the interview talking about a little bit more about your career as an artist. I could see that you write poetry. You say that you're a writer as well. So walk me through a little bit more about it.
Okay. So I just have like a lot of creative projects going on at the same time. I do write poetry. I'm kind of trying to, there the clouds come, kind of trying to get into music, but that's kind of a big challenge. I make digital art. Yeah, that's mostly what I do. I also, like I said, I do research and write articles on special interest topics. So,
Amazing. All right. So during the interview, I'm going to explore a bit more about your life and also about your journey. Okay.
okay.
But before we start our journey, William the Magic Box, I would like you to tell me something interesting about yourself or maybe something that not many people know about you.
Ooh, what's something interesting about me? Oh gosh. Um, oh, that's hard. Oh dear. I guess something interesting is I was raised with a lot of like rock and roll music, and so I have seen the Rolling Stones twice in concert, which is pretty cool.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
yeah, my dad's a big classic rock fan. He tried to run away to Woodstock once. Yeah, so that's sort of where my musical like interests like began, and they've only grown since then.
That's amazing. Actually, fun fact, I saw the Rolling Stones once as well. I'm from Brazil, and
Yeah.
I was already living in Europe, and I went to Rio de Janeiro. And they did a concert on the beach, like 1 million people more or less was on the beach. I remember seeing Mick Jagger like that small, very far away. I remember
Yeah.
like I couldn't watch the whole concert because it was too many people, and I saw a little bit of it, and I just moved on because it was quite difficult to get to, you know what I mean, to be steady in a place. It was too many people.
Yeah. It was both times I saw them in Jacksonville and I saw them in Charlotte. Both times were pretty awesome, so I'm glad I went.
Amazing. Marlo, are you ready to go on a beautiful journey through your memories in life and share your point of views?
Sure.
Amazing. Welcome to William and the Magic Box. So
Awesome.
I
Thank
have
you.
here my best friend. Of random questions. So what I'm going to do, I'm just gonna play a song just for us to relax before the first question, okay?
Okay.
Let's do it. Right. So before I start the interview, during the join, if it comes up a question that you don't want to talk about, you don't want to answer, always can change. Okay.
All right.
Amazing. First question is, if you could ask for a miracle, what that would be?
Oh God. There's a lot out there that I would ask for, but I think the first one might be um not to be stereotypical, I guess like an end to war would be nice. That'd be cool. I would like that. Yeah.
Wow,
Just peace everywhere would be pretty cool.
that's for sure. I think nowadays, watch the TV and see the news around the world sometimes can make us feel sad as well. Like during this time of, we facing this situation. It's quite sad.
Hmm.
Sure.
Yeah.
What makes you the happiest when you think about happiness?
Oh gosh. A lot of things make me happy too. Probably probably spending time with my roommates. We live in this house like out in the suburbs, and it's just a bunch of trans folks like me, and we just hang out. We spend time together. We listen to music. We watch TV. It's great. It's cozy. We do a lot of cleaning. Um, yeah, because like we often just get people. We invite people over. And it becomes like a sort of informal party. Not really, but people are just here. People like hanging out in our house, and that makes me really happy to see.
Totally. And which person in your life right now you feel more close to or more connected with? For example, when you're feeling the lowest for some reason, this person comes to your mind for you to share it. At the same time, the same person when you're feeling the greatest, you feel like, oh my God, I need to share this news, and this person comes to your mind.
Well, there's two people that come to mind when you say that, and I think I'll just go with the first one I thought of. So her name is Blair, and she's my best friend. We're actually exes, fun fact, but it was like the best breakup ever. No, trust me, we've known each other for like almost 3 years now. I can tell her anything, she can tell me anything. Yeah, so anything I ever want to talk about, I can talk about with her. Like we can be totally honest. She's probably my closest relationship I have,
Wow.
just because we know so much about each other.
And how did your path cross for the very first time, if you can share?
What was that?
How did your path cross for the very first time, if you can share?
Oh, okay. So I went to an event at on campus where when I was going, and I just graduated last December, but this was a couple of years ago. And it was this event held by the Queer Staff Caucus, the LGBT Staff Caucus at UNC Charlotte. And she also happened to be there with her friend group, and we just started sort of talking. She was a political science major, very awkward, not really talkative. So I kind of like didn't pay much attention to her because I was trying to talk to this one guy. His name was Chris, and because he was like really attractive, so I was like, I want to talk to you. But he was like, he mentioned his boyfriend in like the first 2 minutes of talking. So I shifted my perspective. I shifted over to someone else that I'd been talking to, which was her. And not long after that, we started seeing each other. So yeah,
Oh, sweet.
yeah. It was kind of a hard question because the other person I was going to mention is my partner. Her name is Val, but I've known Blair longer. So
Okay, so Blair is watching this interview right now, and you have a moment, opportunity to send her a message. What would you say? She's watching.
she's at work right now. So I tell her, get back to work, but also I love you.
Oh,
Because yeah, she's real sweet. She works really hard, and I'm proud of her. So
beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I think those people they come into our lives, and just stay. They meant to be, even though, as you mentioned, they had a relationship, and suddenly it didn't work out as a couple, but
hmm
it never goes wrong. I think sometimes we have the tendency to say, "Oh, we broke up, it finished there." No, it never finished. They're always going to be part
yeah.
of our life for some reason.
A lot of people think that when they break up, they have to hate each other. But like me and
No,
Blair, like even though like being, together didn't work for us, being friends does, and we're really good friends. So,
amazing, very good. Next question. Let's do
all
it.
right.
Okay, Marlo, next question for you is who was your favorite teacher and why?
Oh gosh. So I've had like, a lot of good teachers. Probably the first one that comes to mind. Don't laugh. Her name is Miss Barbie. She was my high school English teacher. And she was that teacher where, like, if you didn't know where to sit in the cafeteria during lunch, you could sit in her room. And she'd, like, she'd like let you in there. You could talk to other students that were in there. And she was probably one of the first like non-parents that I like really felt safe around.
Mhm.
She put in a lot of work to make sure students felt included, felt seen, felt understood. So yeah, love her.
And did you like school growing up?
What was that?
Did you like school growing up?
Uh, that's a tricky question. I did good in school, that's for sure. But there was also, to be honest, a lot of pressure on me to get good grades.
Wow.
Um, I loved like certain classes, especially where I got to be creative, creative writing, those kinds of things. I love that stuff. I loved theater class. That was great. And then I did well in other classes, even if they were, calculus or physics. I still did pretty well in those because I wanted to, do well as much as I could.
What is the biggest joy of being Marlo? What do you like the most about being you?
The way I see the world is pretty cool. I can like look at pretty much anything and write a poem about it, or sort of see a kind of beauty in it. I really being me and seeing, say, botanical gardens or a forest or a really nice garden through my eyes is really nice. Because I just see how like light shines through everything and I see flowers. I don't know. I just kind of see the world through some form of poetry.
Beautiful. I love that. And poetry always been part of your life?
Um, okay, so like when I was little, like 7, I thought I was really cool and I thought I would like write down words that rhymed and like write poetry that way. And I didn't for a very long time until like last September. I don't know why. It just sort of popped into my head and I've been doing it consistently ever since then. And now I have like at least 100 poems.
That's amazing. And what's the big inspiration for you to write your poems?
Um, Looking at the world around me, I suppose. Most of my poems are observational. I see the world, I see something happening, good or bad, and I write about it. People around me are also like obviously a big inspiration. I write poems just about the people in my life, the people I love, stuff like that.
Amazing. Very good. Next question. Let's do it. Right. Before the next question, you mentioned about, being a trans person, yeah, transgender. So tell
Yes.
me, can you talk about it? Are you okay to talk about it?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
perfect. So tell me, when somehow you realize about being a transgender, there was a moment in your life, or just through aging, you kind of, got it.
So for a lot of people, when they hear about people being trans, they might expect some sort of eureka moment. Oh my gosh, I'm trans. And that does happen for some people, right? Some people do experience that. But for me, first I realized I was bisexual, and I was like a kid. That was like early on. That was a decade ago. And over time, I made friends, I connected to people, I asked questions, and during college, I like made friends who were trans, and I sort of got enmeshed in that community, which probably might have been, a little bit of foreshadowing. And I asked questions, I made friends, and I just sort of realized it over time. About August of last year, I think, is when I started like going through the actual medical process of it. So yeah, it was a years-long process of incrementally discovering more and more things about myself until it became evident maybe about a year ago.
I see. And being trans in the city where you live right now, in North Carolina, it's in the state as well. Is easy? Do you find some difficulties? How do you see based on your experience so far?
There are difficulties and there are blessings, I would say.
Okay.
The difficulty is looking at the news sometimes, and you're like, oh, they're making a new law. Uh-oh. Um, but the blessing is that you are in a community, right? Trans people stick together and they look out for each other. And if you're in like a sort of a social group of some kind that is made up mostly of trans people, no one in that group will hesitate to help you if you need it, right? People will share, people will ask each other questions. There's a lot of honesty. It comes with a sort of frankness and openness that you don't really experience otherwise. People are really enthusiastic actually to help you out if you're in crisis or in need, which is pretty awesome.
Amazing. Yeah, I think there is a lot, still a lot of stigma behind people understanding. At the same time, as you mentioned, there are so many people embracing, helping, participating, and also join the trans
Hmm.
community, even though they are not part of it. However, they are just want to be involved, to be more understanding, to be more open-minded. And I think it's great for people to open and talk about it for sure.
Exactly.
Amazing. Next question is, what do you think are the best traits for a person to have?
Oh my gosh. Um, Empathy and compassion, first of all. If you see someone in need, you help them. That's just sort of a no-brainer to me. Second of all, I don't know how to say this, nuance, I think. Understanding nuance, I think, is a big, huge thing that I look for in people. Don't just see everything as black and white. Understand that everyone has complexities, everyone has a life.
Yeah.
Everything's complicated, and it's kind of beautiful like that. I think if I were to say a third one, just honesty, you know, um, being honest with people, being honest with yourself, most
Yeah,
importantly.
totally.
I think a lot of people don't ask themselves enough questions about themselves, and I
Mhm.
think the world would be a little bit better if we did.
And what's the meaning of life for you when you think about life?
Oh God. Coming out with the easy ones I see. Let's see. Very literally, the meaning of life is whatever doesn't kill you. So whatever gets you up, whatever keeps you going, whether that's the sound of birds in the morning or playing like board games with your friends or calling your mom every other day, I don't know. Whatever keeps you going and gets you up in the morning. That must be the reason of life, because I mean, you keep going, don't you?
Totally. Tell me one of the kindest gesture that someone has ever done for you that it touched your heart, or one of the latest, something that you went like, you know what, that was very kind, to
Hmm.
see or to feel or to hear it.
I think so once upon a time, I was on the highway, right? And my tire was in trouble, right? It was bad. It had a hole in it. And I was on the way to get my tire replaced, but on the highway, it blew out, right? So yeah, as you can imagine, I'm terrified. I'm screaming like this is bad. I have to pull over on the side of the road. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. And out of nowhere, this man pulls up next to me in his pickup truck and just gets out and is like, "Hey, you need help?" And I
Oh,
did. Yeah, I was in crisis. And I didn't know how to replace a tire, or I didn't have the tools to do so. But he just gets out of his truck, is like, "I got some tools, I can help you," and just replaces my tire for me so I can make it to the auto shop. Yeah, and like that was like I
wow.
don't know what I would have done. I would have had to like call my dad and beg him for money or something. I don't know. But that random man saved my life that day, honestly. That was a lifesaver.
I've got goosebumps saying the story, Marlo. It's such a beautiful, and sometimes it comes from a stranger, someone that's just literally he stopped his journey, to help
Hmm.
someone out. I think that's amazing. Wow,
Exactly. Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful. 3 questions left. Let's do it. Yes, you can always dance with me.
I love dancing.
Next question is, if you could live anywhere in the world, where that would be and why?
So I'm a geography nerd, right? I am big into maps. I spent so many hours of my childhood at night in my room looking at like old atlases and whatnot. So
Wow.
I've thought a lot about this question. And after all of my thinking, all of my considerations, all of my learning, teaching myself about geography and history and culture and language and climate and whatnot, Buenos Aires, Argentina. That is my conclusion. Yeah,
Wow.
it has an amazing climate, lots of wine. I love wine. Great food, sort of a laid-back culture as far as I can tell. I haven't been there. I'd love to go. But yeah, my plan B for life is if everything else fails, just run away to Argentina, find me a gaucho or a cowboy, and just live out my days. Yeah.
I love it. I was expecting this answer. I was that maybe we'll say something in Europe or maybe somewhere, close to your
Mm-mm.
roots. I love
No,
that.
no. Buenos
Oh,
Aires, Argentina. The beach is right there. You got the pampas, the grasslands. What else do you need?
do you know any word in Spanish?
I know some Spanish. I am not perfectly fluente, pero I can speak a little bit. I haven't practiced in a long time, but if I did, I'd pick it up again.
tomorrow, actually, fun enough, tomorrow on the Magic Box, is going to be an interview with a lovely man from Argentina, from Buenos Aires. You should watch it.
Send him
Yeah.
my love. All right, good to know.
Yeah, his name is Marcelo, actually. He was in Ohio, actually, when we did the interview. He was in Ohio. And I'm from Brazil, we are neighbors. So, we
Yeah.
have this, besides the football that we crush, because the football, besides that,
Yeah.
we see them as brothers. They're part of our neighbors, literally. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing. And if I would come to your city, your town for the very first time, tell me a place that shouldn't miss it. What's the postcard of Charlotte? Yeah, that's where you live, right?
Charlotte, yes,
Yeah.
that's where I live. So, there's a couple places I have in mind. There's some really nice places you'd like to visit because it looks nice, and then there's places that you want to visit because that's where you see what Charlotte really looks like. And if you ask me, the one place I always say people need to go to in Charlotte is the Milestone Club. The Milestone is a hole in the wall. There is graffiti everywhere. There's stickers. It smells like cigarettes. It's only open at night, and you can hear really loud music there. And so I'm big in like the local punk scene in Charlotte, and so the Milestone Club is a like respected institution in the Charlotte music scene. It is not to be trifled with. It is a place to go if you want to hear some loud music, basically. But yeah, that's the number one place I'd say.
Tell me something. As you are an artist, for you, do you have like tell me three names of three maybe artists that you always be inspired by, maybe for your poetry or maybe for your, digital art or maybe for your stand-up comedy, could be anything. Tell me something, that three names that for you is a big inspiration.
Oof. One Keith Haring. So Keith Haring, if you don't know, he was a like street artist back in the 70s and 80s. And his style, actually I have a tattoo of it right here. Yeah. His style inspired a lot of like pop art and street art and his sort of ethos at approaching the world through a compassionate lens is what I really try to go for. If I could capture like a fraction of his like beautiful energy, I would like to do that. Second, this might be a little bit surprising. Hosier, if you know who he is, you probably heard like "Take Me to Church," maybe. Anyways, Hosier is an Irish artist, and he actually has a song where he sings part of it in Irish, right? Like seeing the beauty in the world is a huge thing for Hosier, and he sees beauty in his homeland, which I think is awesome.
Wow.
So I write a lot of poems that are inspired by his love of nature. And the third one, probably, ooh, gosh. Do you know who Jean-Michel Basquiat is?
It rings a bell, the name. It does ring a
Okay.
name. It rings a
He was
bell.
actually friends with Keith Haring back in the 80s, and he did a lot of sort of abstract street art that deconstructs like race and class and power and love and beauty. And so Jean-Michel Basquiat, he was Haitian. His mother was Haitian, but he lived in New York, right? And so his like immigrant status, his like views on society, I try and like channel some of that like very high art that he tried to create.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay, so let's pretend that three of them they're still with us. Yeah, I'm not sure if the two first the first one, I'm not sure he passed away or not, but let's pretend three of them they're still with us. Okay,
sure.
one day you're gonna wake up in the morning having three missed calls on your phone from those three you just
Oh
mentioned right
God.
now. Which one you're gonna call back straight away? Which one you're gonna send a message? I call you back later. And the third one, don't call back, just ignore him for now.
Um, oof, jinkies. That's hard. No disrespect to Jean-Michel Basquiat, but I'll call him later because he's probably busy. He never stopped working, really, so he can talk to me later. I'm sure he'll be fine with it. He has other things to worry about. I'll call back Keith Haring. I want to know what he has to say. He had a really beautiful outlook on life, and he did a lot of activism work. So definitely, I would want to like get in direct, like visual inspiration. But I'm messaging Hosier back right away.
Wow.
He's probably of those three the one I know the most about, mostly because he is alive today and has, engaged on the internet. So we've seen a lot more of him and who he is. He's a delightful man. He's really funny. And he has truly beautiful like outlooks on human nature. So I get back right back to him.
I love the reasons why you called back, why you tested the message, why you don't. I love it.
Yeah.
What will be the title of your memoir one day, Marlo?
Cookies, no cream. I've actually thought about this a lot.
Tell me about it.
Um, yes. So when my parents adopted me, two social workers from South Carolina, in their 50s, when they adopted me, they were allowed to bring certain foods, but they weren't allowed to bring cookies with cream in them. So I couldn't have Oreos in the orphanage. I don't know why. No idea. But to me, that is emblematic of the sometimes silly, arbitrary rules we feel like we need to follow, right? And sometimes how you can get what you want, but you not other things. You can get what you need, but not what you want, maybe. Call back to the Rolling Stones. Um, but yeah, so that would be the title.
Wow, I like that. And for
Thank you.
you, growing up, do you always knew that you were adopted, and also your parents they shared some, let's say, a little bit of Ukraine culture with you, or a little bit of your roots, or not?
Yeah, so I'll always remember the day when my dad called me into his office to pull out my birth certificate and show it to me, and I couldn't
Oh,
read it because it was in Ukrainian. I had no idea what it said, but he was like, "This is you. That's you as a baby right there. We have a
oh,
translated version right here." Um, and
sweet.
so I'll never forget that. That was really a big spark in my life, and that led me to learn more about geography and the world because I wanted to know more about where I was from.
Wow.
But when I was a kid, right, there was this thing in a town we lived in. It was called the St. Nicholas Festival every Christmas. And so all these like old Ukrainian grandmas in Lexington, South Carolina would get together and they'd bake cookies and they had like a little worship service and they'd have a man dress up like St. Nicholas and he'd tell the kids stories. And there was like this little alcove where you could like buy a gift for your parents that they just gave you money for. It was adorable. It was great. And it was how my parents sort of like told me where I was from, the best like in the best way they could. And I'll never forget that. Because despite the fact that I couldn't really go back to Ukraine, and I can't now because of war, unfortunately, I could always have a connection. I could have a little bit of little slice. So
I love that. I love that. It's so creative. Your dad just bringing you and show you birth certificates in your
exactly.
mother language. It's amazing. I love that. Wow, great. Two questions left. Let's do
All right.
it. Okay, Marlo, next question is,
All
tell us
right.
about your first kiss and your first love.
Oh God. So I was a Boy Scout. I'm an Eagle Scout actually from the Boy Scouts of America, although it's not called that anymore. So believe it or not, my first kiss was in a tent at a winter camp. Yeah.
Great.
With this other boy named Ed Hessert. It was silly. It was very exciting, obviously, at the time. I was like, oh my God. But yeah, so that was that. But the first person I really fell in love with, his name was Leo Cantrell. If he's out there, he's an awesome guy. So he was my first boyfriend. We didn't live too far away from each other, and he was an artist and actually sort of encouraged me to pursue my own creative pursuits, which was pretty awesome.
Wow.
Um, but yeah, so our first me and Leo's first kiss actually was pretty idyllic. It was on a Ferris wheel at like the carnival. It was great. It was like orchestrated by my best friend, Helena at the time. Yeah, it was great.
Do you fall in love easily or take time for you to somehow give your heart away?
What'd you say?
Do you fall in love easily, like usually when you meet someone, or it takes time for you to give your heart away somehow?
There's different levels to it, right? So there's actually a Hosier song about this. And it's called Someone New, about like sort of falling in love with someone every day because people are beautiful and you get to every day if you see a random stranger you might like see a little thing they do or something or the way they're dressed.
totally.
So there's different levels to it for me. Like I can be, attracted to someone easily, duh. Um, but like I can also connect personally with someone pretty quickly. It just depends on who they are and what we talk about. But I would say as far as trusting someone, that really deep level of trust,
Mm,
that takes a very long time for me.
right.
Which I think is a good thing. You don't want to be too quick to trust people. You don't want to just hand everything out all the time, but I try and engage everyone in a loving way?
Wow. What's your star sign astrology, Marlo? Just I don't know if you believe in astrology, but what's your star sign?
I am an Aquarius. I was born February 15th.
Wow. As you mentioned as well about your partner, and I could see your eyes shine in talking about your partner. So far, what has been the most meaningful lesson you've learned from them?
So Val she has a green thumb. She loves growing things. She's all into plants. She's studying plants. She's growing tomatoes in our backyard right now.
Oh,
And so one thing I've really learned from her is slowing down and taking care of things, right? Because when you take care of a plant, you can't be harsh with it. You got to be gentle. You really got to pay attention and see how it's doing. Um, little bit of an allegory for how to take care of people in there, I'm sure. And it really helps define how she approaches the world, very calmly and very gently. She's a very gentle, soothing person.
wow.
And I think it might have something to do with the fact that she loves plants.
Amazing. Love it. Last question, ready?
All right.
Let's do it. Let's...
Okay.
Okay, but before the last question, I'm going to ask another tough question for you. I'm sure, as you mentioned, you have hundreds of poetry written so far.
Hmm.
And of course, all of them means a lot to you. There's a meaning behind, there's a connection with you. There is always a story to tell behind the words.
Sure.
But if you could pick one, for any reason, it doesn't mean that it's your favorite one. But right now, at the moment, if you could pick one, or that for you maybe was a special occasion, maybe you just wrote based on something that's meant to you, could be anything. But so far, through those hundreds that you have written, there is any
Hmm.
that you go like, what, that is a bit, is not more special, but somehow a bit special compared with the others.
I think it might be this one poem titled Hatties, Hatties. So there's a bar in Charlotte. It's called Hattie's Tap and Tavern. And every once a week, right? There's a lot of trans people, my friends, people who are friends of my friends and whatnot, in this social group that I'm in. And we just go there every Tuesday. And so after the first time I went there, I fell in love with the environment. There's like Americana on the walls, there's like old rock music playing or something. There's old video games, like really old, like from the 90s, like that you can play for free. There's a pool table. There was a couch. There's like this nice back patio with beautiful like murals on it. It's really a gorgeous place if you look at it and you really see what it is. So
Wow.
I wrote a poem basically memorializing my first night there and the people who were there and the things that I felt while I was there.
Special. Oh my God, special. Do the owners know about it, or the people who
I'm
runs the
actually
place?
I'm actually thinking of taking it to them. I haven't done it yet. I haven't worked up the courage. But yeah, I'm thinking about taking it to them. The only problem with that is it has people's names in it, so I'd have to like clear it with everyone that's in the poem because I mentioned specifically like people that I know, and I'm not just gonna be like spreading people's names without their consent. Because I mean, my poetry is like it's personal, it's intimate,
Yeah.
it's raw, so like I need to talk to everyone who's in the poem before I share it. But if I do that and I bring it to the people at Hattie's Tap and Tavern, I think they'll appreciate it because I've
Totally.
been there like at least half a dozen times now or more. So it's really a place that I love and a place that people in my friend group have been going to for years.
And now, for sure, if this interview gets to them, trust me, they will ask you, please, just we want to read, we want to see it. You need to talk very
Yeah.
quickly to people involved with their names. You need to talk to them right now.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, Places like the Milestone and places like Hattie's are places that I hold. They're very near and dear to me. Community, locally owned places, not chains. Places that are more unique, more special. Those are really special to me. So,
Beautiful. Last question is, do you have any nicknames?
oh, I have a lot. I have a few. Um, so my name is Marlo. Um, I'm not actually entirely sure where it came from. I just thought it sounded unique. But because that's my name, people have nicknamed me Marlboro, like the cigarettes. Because it sort of sounds like that. It's spelled similarly. Um, and it's when I don't typically smoke, but when I do, it's the one I choose. So, yeah. So people have nicknamed me Marlboro. I used to have like nicknames back before I was trans, like Bill Murray for some reason. I'm not sure why. I don't know what that was about, but people thought I was funny, I guess. I did do stand up once in high school, so maybe that's what it was. But yeah, I have a lot of nicknames that probably can't share in this environment because they contain expletive language.
Right.
Um, yeah.
How does your partner call you? How does she call you? If you can share, like,
uh, sh- she just calls me Marlo. Sometimes, oh, I do have one nickname. Marlo, and has a lot of variations on it, like Farmo or Larmo or Marmar or something. So people like to play around like that. Val calls me babe most of the time, or baby, or sweetie, um, or just Marlo. So yeah.
beautiful. Right, so then yet, let's play now the word association game. Okay, I'm going to say some
Okay.
words. Just tell me one word that comes to your mind. Quick thinking.
I love this game.
Let's start with money,
Ouch. Youchies. Ow. Pain. No, thank you.
family,
Decatur. That's the street I live on.
fear,
Ooh. Forever.
life,
Joy.
love,
Val.
or religion,
Not for me, but beautiful.
sex,
Intimate.
politics,
Complicated.
friendship.
Simple.
I like that.
Thank you.
Desire.
Uh, oddly enough, the color red.
It says everything red. Desire with red, it works really well. Regrets,
Haiti.
success,
Music? Question mark?
wish,
Happiness.
and one word for happiness.
Huh?
One word for happiness.
Um, you know what? Flowers.
Beautiful. One word for Charlotte in North Carolina.
Imperfect.
One word for USA.
What's a more extreme word for imperfect? Flawed, but beautiful.
One word for Ukraine.
Windy.
One word for poetry.
Contemplative.
Wow. And the last one now, one word for the trans community.
Eclectic.
Beautiful. Let's pretend I'm going to meet your partner for a coffee and I'm going to
Sure.
ask her, define Marlo in one positive and one negative word only. What she would say about you?
Positive. Val notices my creativity. Maybe
Mhm.
more than anyone. Maybe Blair notices it, but Val notices my creativity. Negative. Stressed out, anxious.
Wow. If I would ask the same question to Blair, the one you mentioned, your friend, would be the same answer?
Um, the positive word would most likely be kind, compassionate, something like that. Empathetic. And the negative word might be, mm, Blair and I understand nuance on a similar level, so it's hard to reduce this to one word. But the negative word I might say would be self-critical, too harsh on myself, essentially.
Interesting. Let's play now Marlo and the Magic Box and can ask me a question. But before that, let's play the music one more time. Let's do it.
All right.
Okay, but before you ask the question, as you mentioned that you just start your journey as a transgender not long ago. People watch this interview right now. Maybe they're in the same process as well, or maybe they want to start the process. They know who they are. They just want to,
Hmm.
you know what I mean, to step in. What would be your best piece of advice?
Oof. Um, my first piece of advice would be to look at the clothes that you wear and the clothes you want to wear, right? Because usually the
Interesting.
first thing people notice is clothing, right? So when I was in high school, right, I noticed I wanted to crop my shirts. I wanted to cut them short, so I was wearing crop tops. And I did that in secret sometimes, actually.
Oh,
And I would say that's like the first step that led me to where I am now. And now I'm, several months on estrogen. So yeah, definitely look at the clothes you want to wear and try and see if you can't get closer to that point. See if you can't inch yourself in that direction. Maybe wear a more colorful shirt or a less colorful shirt, whatever you want. Maybe wear those sneakers instead of those high heels or the other way around. I don't know. But that'd be my first piece of advice.
beautiful. Okay, Marlo, you can ask me a question now.
I have a few. First of all, why did you want to interview me?
Because I knew that you were a poet, a poetry. I'm joking.
Okay.
No, I'm joking. No, no, I'm gonna be serious. Literally, when I invite random people around the globe, Marlo, there's no criteria behind. Literally, when your profile showed on my feeds, I said I look at it and I said, why not? So I
Hmm.
when the only thing when I see profiles, I just double check if they're not fake. If I see that they're not fake, I just fire the question because I believe everyone has a story to tell. Everyone is interesting. If they say yes, perfect. If they say no, perfect either, because it just didn't meant to be. So, there's no criteria. I just I'm so inspired by people that for me, everyone, for example, talking to you now, my God, I find out so much about you that I didn't know.
Yeah,
I'm going to tell you, I made a note here of your name. You are poetry, you are an artist, and you like skateboarding as well. I made those
I
three
do.
points, and I find out so much about you for the interview. I knew about Ukraine because you put the flag, but I wasn't sure if you're born there
Hmm.
or any connection. So yeah, and through this interview, I already find out so much about you and so interesting about your life. So imagine, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's what I believe. People that are interesting. So there's nothing like something that okay, and I want this person because of this or because of that. No, I just fire the question. If they say yes, perfect. If they some no, it's okay as well. So yeah, another question.
Yeah. Where in Brazil are you from?
Okay, good question. So, oh my God, of course, you see, you love maps, you love geography.
Yeah.
This good one. Okay, so Brazil, I have seen the image of Brazil, the map of Brazil.
Oh
I mean,
yes. Oh yeah.
I'm the very middle. It's a state called Mato Grosso. It's a very middle, of the biggest states.
Hmm.
So I'm far. I'm like 2 hours and a half by plane from Rio, São Paulo. So yeah, I'm very in the middle of Brazil. I'm very far away from the seaside. However, I'm close to, waterfalls, forests, beautiful nature.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's a state called Mato Grosso. Very hot in there. Very,
Yeah.
very
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
literally.
So,
So
from what I know, Mato Grosso is near the Amazon. Is like part of
yeah,
the Amazon. Like, is the
it's
jungle
not
like in Mato Grosso?
it's not part of the Amazon. However,
Okay.
there's a if you Google Pantanal, it's a
Yeah. Yeah.
place.
Yeah. 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 A wetland. Yeah.
There you go, gets for my state and also go to another country as well close by. I'm not sure which
Hmm.
one, but it's a massive. So it's kind of like Amazonas, but it's not. So
Okay.
it's full of nature there. It's a lot of nature, a lot of waterfalls, a lot of rivers, a lot of
Hmm.
rivers, literally,
Oh
like you
yeah.
find a lot. So yeah, it's that's the place where my roots are, Mato Grosso. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I've heard about the Pantanal. Like it's one of the
But
biggest like wetlands like in the world, which must be really
yeah,
beautiful.
beautiful.
I've seen pictures of it, and it's not at all the same, but it reminds me of where I'm from because
right?
Charleston has a huge marsh ecosystem, right? So lots of, like you said, lots of rivers, lots of
Yeah.
flat land, really beautiful. So
Flatland, yes, there's a lot where I'm from for sure. And also,
yeah.
I'm gonna, after we finish the interview, I'm gonna send you a name as well. Chapada dos Guimarães is a place
Hmm.
very, I'm saying maybe for you it's a quite difficult spelling, but I'm gonna send you, and you Google it, you're gonna see it's a beautiful place. It actually not far where I live, and when I go there, it's just a paradise. I'm gonna send you the name, and you just Google it, and I'm sure you're gonna love it because it's all about nature as well. Waterfalls,
Awesome. Thank
beautiful.
you. That's cool.
Did you enjoy the interview?
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks again, Marlo. Thanks for bringing this energy. I love your energy. You're very confident. You talk about topics that you know what you're talking about. You
Hmm.
have this, you embrace what you believe, you embrace about yourself, and it's visible. It's the first time I'm talking to you, and I can feel it that you literally are living your truly self, and it's amazing to see. Carry on with this personality. I love it for sure.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Before you go, if you can share a positive message or anything that you live by.
Um, One that I've been sort of repeating to myself recently is that there's a lot of beauty in the world, right? If you just like go outside and you hear birds, especially because it's spring here in the northern hemisphere. I know it's fall in the southern hemisphere right now, but if you ever are outside and you hear birds, like listen to them, you know? That's not just background noise. Those are animals and they communicate with each other, and it's really beautiful to listen to. And
Perfect.
I get to look, I'm looking at my backyard right now. And so I'm seeing flowers, I see my hammocks. So my message is, just try and see beauty in the world because it's there. It really is. It's in people. It can be in architecture. It can be in nature, whatever it is. Um, it's there. So,
Beautiful and simple. I think simplicity, nature, it talks to us every day. It's just look at it, it's just around the corner for you, you know what I mean? Just listen to it, the sound of it is just beautiful and amazing, relaxing, for sure.
hmm.
Amazing.
All right. Thank you.
Amazing. Thanks again. Regards to your partner, to your friends and family, and keep in touch. It was a pleasure having you on the show, okay? Take
All
care.
right.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you.
Bye bye. So, did you like the show? Don't forget to give a like, to share it, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to be part of the show as well, first, subscribe to our channel, and after that, just go to our website, www.williamandthemagicbox.com, and send us a request saying why would you like to be part of the show. And I see you there. Bye bye, see you next time.